Uh-oh, anti-single mom TikTok a little bit quiet about this one. Alright, so for those that don't know, this is Zion Williamson, star basketball player for the New Orleans Pelicans, and this is his girlfriend, 30-year-old IG model Akima. And one of the main talking point red pill girlies and passport bros like to talk about is nobody wants single mommies. Well, as you can see here, Akima has a 6-year-old son. But anti-single mom TikTok, y'all down bad with this one, because this lady just bagged an NBA superstar.
The now 25-year-old is recording career lows in points and rebounds. His assist numbers aren't that impressive. The defensive motor never really translated from high school over to the professional level. But the thing that is the most concerning is his field goal percentage is at a career low of only 51%. And the reason why this is so concerning, and I'm pretty sure most people know this, but Zion does most, if not all of his damage at the rim. So for a player to only convert 51% of his shots, when we all know that majority, if not all of his shots, come within 8 to 10 feet from the basket, is extremely concerning, especially because a few years ago, bro, Zion was finishing on par with like Giannis. Now all of a sudden his finishing is barely above league average, which completely obliterates the level of impact that he should have and makes his flaws even more noticeable. But what may be even more illuminating is how quickly this team has been able to potentially find his replacement.
Anti-single mom TikTok a little bit quiet about this one.
Been fighting in court. I've been fighting for 9 years.
And big shout out to any pregnant women. Like, y'all don't understand, like
$24,500 in monthly child support payments.
Black queens forever, snow bunnies never.
Black queens forever. Bunnies is never.
Okay, welcome back, brothers, and Happy New Year. That was Dr. Umar reporting live from what I can only assume is his place of residence these days. But before we get to him, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the kind comments and the channel support. Yes, on this platform, we give the spotlight to productive black men only, because productive black men have always been the engine powering the black race forward. And you might think it sounds naive, but I don't think course correction for our culture is going to be that difficult. The biggest issue is too many people talking who don't belong to our collective. Once we start tuning all those voices out, the real solutions will come to the forefront, I promise you. So basically, we like to promote this type of energy right here. And this goes for anybody trying to say something about a productive black man who isn't selling drugs to his own community. He isn't shooting other black men who look like him. He's not dedicating his life to becoming another prison statistic. He's not downplaying the importance of education. And he's not a mindless golem taking marching orders from Keishas and or politicians. And he's not a Brad apologist. Yet Brads, Keishas, and Simps feel like they can criticize this type of black man or even call him a raccoon because he chooses to live his life differently, because he's smart enough to recognize what works and what doesn't work. And what black men have been doing in the past does not work. So just like this Brad in the clip above, those Brads, Keishas, and Simps criticizing our movement need to get out of our way, because there's nothing stopping this train. We will not continue to blindly promote that productive black men should be cleanup men continuing to march into the alimony, child support, and false accusation meat grinder that the Section 8 Keisha-led black community has provided us. And to the brother who sent me the study on black economics in California, thank you. I did receive your study. I read it over the holiday break, and I will be incorporating some of that study into my next video where we talk about economics. I just want to say what's happening in California is terrible, honestly, but it is a great case study for what the end game of a lot of these vote blue, no matter who initiatives will get us as Black Americans. And to be fair, a lot of these initiatives were being carried out even under Republican governance in California. But basically, California's economy was given over almost entirely to Mexican and Asian control under the guise of giving marginalized illegal immigrants an opportunity for a better life. In reality, what they really did was use government resources that the Black economy was paying taxes into, as well as the greater American economy, to fund illegal immigrants moving into Black neighborhoods, taking over their resources, and then pushing Black people out. And that's what's happening today. If you look at California now, Hispanic Americans own and control almost all of the manual labor jobs, extending into construction and distribution as well. And Asians own a large portion of the tech and corporate jobs, and they mostly hire within their own race. They also hold a lot of political office seats in California as well, which allows them greater access into lobbying for even more immigration policies, which give them greater numbers and continues the cycle. And these tactics were basically used to remove the Black presence from California. That was done on purpose. That's why I don't even like when I hear people blame the loss of the affirmative action acts and race-based quotas on Republicans. Most of those movements started in California. It started with Asians complaining that, oh, I can't get into college because of Black people. All the Black people are taking the seats. Then Brad talks them into pushing as people of color to have affirmative action initiatives and college enrollment revoked. They get their way, and then look what happened. The college admission numbers haven't really changed much. In fact, it's hurt the Asian population a little bit. But that's why a lot of those other demographics were brought in large numbers. They're just convenient. They're technically people of color, but they're under Brad's control, and they're used to lobby against real Black initiatives. And brothers, I also hate that age-old argument that immigrants use, oh, I came here with nothing and I became a success. You know what I tell them? You came here with nothing because my tax dollars funded you. There's always been tax revenue-backed initiatives in this country to fund immigrants coming over here. So you don't have to come here with the money to be successful. But it was my ancestors who fought for the right for you to be here. It's simply that that fight was used against them in the long run. And these immigration laws have gotten so bad that even Brad and Becky are getting out of California. They can't even control the monster they created anymore. But let's move on to Dr. Umar.
How do you feel about being associated with the Undertaker's theme music?
I was speaking for Garvey Day. Somebody took a clip and they put it to the Undertaker music, and I loved it. When you hear that music, the truth is coming. It's the death of all bullshit.
So you like being associated with the White Grim Reaper?
I actually found that pretty funny, but to be honest with you, brothers, I have repurposed the Undertaker's bell toll because I think some brothers are a little confused. When you hear the bell toll for Dr. Umar rhetoric, I wouldn't think about it as the death of all bullshit, as if he's providing truth. The bell is actually tolling for any brother that takes him seriously. Because if you follow this man's rhetoric, it'll only be a matter of time for you. And that especially applies to this brother right here. Brother, welcome to the channel. You don't have to pretend like you just clicked around a couple times. I know you've been watching. It's okay. And look at this. My name's been getting you views. I guess we got Marlo from The Wire here.
Use my name in the street. My name was on the street. My name is my name.
Brother, I don't care about your name. I care about your message because it's incorrect. And I want to put the correct information out there to dispute narratives like yours, which I feel are destructive to Black men. The only reason I added you in the video was because my father taught me that when you criticize someone, you should be direct with them. So I wanted you to know, man to man, that I was going to be talking about you. That's it. It has nothing to do with chasing a bag either, but that confirms to me where your mindset is at. You know, 2 months ago, when I first made a response to your interracial dating video, I had 0 subscribers. I wasn't even sure if anyone would watch my video or how the content would be received. Anyone with eyes can see that this is not a financially motivated venture. In fact, I hope that in time, my vision can be used to help create economic opportunities for more productive black men. But as far as you and your channel are concerned, I'm here to draw a line in the sand and say, hey, it's 2026, and we as productive black men are done with you Keisha panderers and you simps. I respect what you said about black fatigue, and I respect that you are a father, because when any black man takes up the mantle of fatherhood, he helps to dispel a lot of the negative propaganda that Brad and Keisha chiefly promote about black men. But where you and I differ is I'm not a liar. 90% of the negative propaganda holding good, productive black men back is propagated by Keishas. And I saw that lame-ass gender divide video you did. I noticed you really like to go after the Myron Gaines and the Brad-adjacent black men who don't like black women because they're easier targets to attack. You'd never actually attack an accountable commentary message because you can't. It's rock solid. You can't refute it. And I find it hysterical that you're talking about the Willie Lynch letter when on your channel you're promoting the concept of biracial kids with a black mom being better than biracial kids with a white mom. How is that any different than the Willie Lynch dark skin versus light skin tactic? I mean, that's just an extension of the gender war between black men and black women. You're contributing to it. And by the way, there was never a time in American history where any black man was a larger misogynist than a white man. That has never existed. It didn't happen in the civil rights era. It didn't happen on the plantation. It didn't happen during Jim Crow. It never happened. That's just something Keisha's made up so they could justify dating white men because they knew how it looked optically. And people like you are too dumb to figure it out. People like Sergeant Willie Pete are even lost on that point. They want to talk about educated lames and colorism. Still haven't figured out black women just make that stuff up to justify their choices. All women mate select from a smaller pool of men within the larger group of available men. They go to the men they want, and then they justify their decisions later if it doesn't work out. As a man, you're supposed to see through a lot of that BS, but this is the problem with simps. They believe these women too much. It makes them dangerous because they're not going to hold them accountable. I heard what you said about we hide under the guise of holding black women accountable. And I just laugh at that assertion because what are we supposed to do, brother? Sit there and look at the stats. Oh, black women divorce us at astronomically high rates. I guess I'll keep marrying them. Oh, black women have higher STD rates than we do, and they blame us for it. I guess that makes sense. Oh, Keisha's DV rates are just as high as black men's. And statistically, men are less likely to report and women are more likely to over-report. But I guess Keisha's the victim when it comes to domestic violence, even though the DV rates are even high when she's in lesbian relationships. And oh, Keisha also leads globally in paternity fraud rates, but I guess that's no big deal too. Many Keishas fought against black men's right to vote. But I guess that's no big deal either. Who needs history, right? What can we learn from that? I guess educating yourself on the history of Keisha's many betrayals to black men in this country is a CIA tactic. That's part of the trap that the white man has for me, right? But when Keisha puts you on child support or lifetime alimony or tries to tarnish your name with false allegations, that's not a trap, right? Because we're serving Akeisha at the end of the day. Akeisha makes out she gets to eat at the end of the day, so that's not selling out. And you actually half-ass validated that civil rights leaders being misogynist claim, you coward. This is the problem with simps, man. They will back anything Keisha says. So if Keisha lies, they will back it. Always under the guise as being authentically black. You can say what you want about Saquon Barkley, but I've never heard him say anything as remotely discouraging towards black men as I've heard from your channel. So who's the real coon at the end of the day? But at this point, I've seen your comment section. It's like all Keishas. And the one comment from a black male that I saw, he was exclaiming that he loves being a simp because he loves black women. Well, at least he knows. But maybe I'm mistaken by even criticizing your channel, because maybe it's not meant to be a channel for black men at all. Maybe you're simply YouTube's new version of the Oprah Winfrey Show, and it's essentially television for women. Maybe that's what I need to start looking at it like. Your Lifetime, your own, your Oprah Winfrey, television for women. Now I'm starting to realize, and forgive me brothers, it took a moment, why he had that Patriots cap on. Because this relationship right here represents how you live your life, on your knees. And that brings me to this next simp, clapping his hands like a seal because Zion Williamson got a single mom pregnant. That is not a strike against Red Pill. That's a testimony to Zion Williamson's foolishness. I mean, just this past week, Zion Williamson had another issue with an OnlyFans model. He is on his way to eating and simping his way out of the NBA. And once this lady has spent the designated amount of time by his side to claim she was supportive, she will be pulling the trigger on child support and anything else she can get out of him. I always say there are two ways you can contribute to our SYSBM movement. You can be a member or you can be a case study. That's all this is. Zion Williamson will be contributing to SYSBM and Manosphere Talking Points by being a direct example in the future that we point to and say, don't be this guy. And now back to our main event, Dr. Simpmar Johnson. You know, I saw this clip on TikTok that he posted and I wanted to say something about it.
You can't resist the snow bunnies? 1,000 lashes and your melanin has been snatched. You have now been completely dismissed from the African race. We hope Caucasian nation will accept you as one of their own because your melanin is snatched.
Again, brother, you do not speak for the entire black race. But what I will say is this black man and this white woman appear to be homeless. That's probably how you ran into them. You were probably sleeping on the park bench right next to them. And for you to be harassing them to create TikTok content is pretty disgusting, to be honest. But I know why simps like you flock to do stuff like this. You like to take the worst example of a black man and a white woman couple and hold it up so that you can say this is the standard for black man, white woman relationships. You would never go up to Saquon Barkley and his woman and do that. You would never come up to me and my woman and do that because you know the result would be very different. So I don't respect this. And one thing I want to shine a light on, because I've noticed it's very popular for many demographics to speak negatively and depict negative imagery around black men who date out. I'd like to take a look at some Brad and Keisha relationships for comparison real quick. Huh, that's weird. I thought only black men dated overweight people. Isn't that what I always hear? It's always a black man with an overweight white woman. What's going on here? And look at this. Sergeant Willie Pete told me not to be an educated lame, that's an actual talking point, but it doesn't seem to be holding this guy back any. He doesn't exactly look like Bruce Wayne here. Notice how the standards drop further and further the lighter skinned the man is. And these are the women that want to have conversations about colorism. That's why I say I'm not interested. I'm not interested in any of that. Keisha only wants to talk about colorism when Brad's not interested. Keisha only sets the bar high for actual black men so that it's not obtainable. That's all it's about, you know. The darker you are, the taller you need to be, and the more money you need to be making, and the more things you have to offer them. When you're a Brad, you can be anybody. That talking point is very real that AC talks about, and he's trying to teach black men something. But the next time someone wants to say something about black men dating overweight white women, I want you to show them this and say, why don't we talk about this? Because all of these Brad and Keisha relationships do not look like Travis Kelce and Kayla Nicole. In fact, the majority of them I see look like this.
If you never develop sexual discipline, I'm talking to all the men. Remember, Mike Tyson went to jail for a crime I don't think he committed. Tupac went to jail for a crime I don't think he committed. Bill Cosby went to jail for a crime I don't think he committed.
And you blew all of the donation money that you siphoned from the black community on strippers. So once again, we have a simp who needs to take some of his own advice. And by the way, 2 out of 3 of your examples that you gave in the clip I posted were black men who were taken down by Keisha's, Mike Tyson and Tupac. So thank you for making one of my points for me. And while it's very true that black men do need to practice sexual discipline, because one of the main inroads that Brad will use to go after black men, even if they've done nothing wrong, is to accuse him of a sexual crime. That's been going on since the beginning of time, because the benefit of sexual crimes, when you want to frame someone, is that you don't need as much evidence to press charges as you would for a murder conviction. With murder, you need beyond reasonable doubt. You need to prove that they were there, they had a motive, and you have to have evidence showing they committed the crime. Even with theft, you have to prove that they were there at the time the crime was committed. Sexual crimes, you damn near don't need any proof at all. You just need a crying woman pointing her finger. And there's plenty of evidence to show that the FBI and CIA use this tactic on black men and have historically. But I'll get into that more in another video. But for the purposes of this video, I just want to ask, when are we going to start diving in and analyzing why Keisha's seem to be so comfortable falsely accusing black men that they supposedly have been supporting for so long? What makes them so comfortable that they can go to a Brad and use the system that they claim is so corrupt against them to take a black man down? Why do they feel so comfortable doing that? Has Dr. Umar ever addressed this? Because that's one of the most serious threats against black men, and it always has been. And they just expect us to ignore it and wait another 100 years and watch so many black men continue to suffer. And that's what I won't do. You know, I get so many of your comments, brothers, where you say, that happened to me. Thank you for speaking about this. That exact same thing happened to me, or it happened to someone I know. And it's because I know so many black men in my personal life that have gone through it. I know so many black men who have had messy divorces, custody battles, false allegations. I've seen it all. And I'm tired of it being swept under the rug. I'm tired of it getting taught like, that's just a wayward Keisha. That was just you just chose wrong. Choose better next time. We can't take those risks anymore. Someone has to hold these women accountable. Sorry, Antonio Griffs, but somebody has to hold these women accountable. And that's going to be the SYSBM movement. You know, brothers, many years ago, when I was still fairly blue-pilled, I had a friend who was a criminal justice attorney, and I asked him, hey, what was one of the things that surprised you the most when you got into your field? And I was expecting him to say, you know, some type of gruesome murder case or something, like something wild that he may have encountered. And what shocked me is he told me, what surprises me the most is the number of allegations I've seen from women that end up being false. This is a completely true story. He literally said the amount of cases we get where women are claiming certain things happened to them and the case ends up being found to be false. He said that's what surprised him the most. They get a ton of those cases. He said especially in colleges. And I was blue-pilled at this time. So I said, well, how do you know they're false? And he said, he mentioned one case in particular where a woman accused a man of you-know-whatting her. But they had security footage from the campus, and they saw that they had both snuck off into an alleyway, and, you know, they did their thing after meeting up at a bar. And what happened is the woman was embarrassed after, and, you know, she accused him of something he didn't do. So he knew 100% it was false. So that was one of the early awakening moments that I had that sort of changed my perspective and made me rethink some of the views I had on the male-female dynamic.
Hey, listen, your wife is white, so we're going to stop the black talk right there.
Okay, and you've been calling black women queens for 15 years, yet refuse to marry one. So why are you talking either?
If I was in charge, the NFL and NBA would be shut down because the only people I see benefiting from black men going to the NFL and the NBA is ugly-ass white women. That's the only problem.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Let's not work with the black men who do make a lot of money to create solutions for all black people. Let's rally to disenfranchise them because they won't volunteer to be privatized welfare for Keishas. This is why these simps should not be leaders. One, an unproductive man should not be a leader to begin with, because if you can't build anything for yourself, how can you build something for the collective? And two, a simp is always going to put a woman before everything else. That's why we don't have a school for black boys like Dr. Umar promised. Too many trips to the strip club, and too much baby making with women you refuse to marry. So sorry, black boys of the future, no school for you. That money went to Diamond, Destiny, and Ambrosia down at Magic City.
Joe might not know who the fuck cleans this.
Something just hit me. Shoot. Are you mixed race?
No.
Are you a bunny hopper?
Yes.
That's why you have a liberal perspective.
That's not true. That's not
because you go home to a white woman.
Yes, but that's not true. I felt this way before I met my white girlfriend.
So help me understand how you could be so passionate about the black law.
I'm passionate. I'm an objective thinker. I don't. If something makes sense.
So you have no loyalty to the black community.
No, I do have. I probably employ more blacks than you.
Okay, so help me understand that you employ more blacks than me, but you go home to a white woman. Why you don't have a black woman?
Because I fell in love with a white woman, not a black.
Why didn't you fall in love with a black woman?
I did. I fell in love with a black woman. We broke up.
Okay, and why didn't you fall in love with another black woman?
I did that too. We broke up.
Okay. And why didn't you get another one and another one and another one until you found the right one?
Because I met a white woman that I fell in love with, and that's the person that
and you're being disingenuous about something.
That's not true.
And let me tell you what you're being disingenuous about.
True.
Romance is a function of focus and opportunity. If I want to date an Asian, I'm going to put myself around Asian women so I can find one. If I want to date a Latino, I'm going to put myself around Latino women so I can date one. If you wanted to marry a black woman, you would have put yourself around black women so you can find one. So how did you end up with the Caucasian? No disrespect to her.
No, not at all. What I'm telling you is the places that I go socially are not just monolithic.
So what? I went to a white college, white job. I never bunny hopped.
Listen to my question. Let me answer you. That wasn't my priority. My priority wasn't, I'm not closed off to dating Latino women. I'm not closed off to dating Asian women. I'm not closed off to dating white women. So again, in my search for romance, all of those things were on the table.
But you do understand that by not being with a black woman, you undermine the success of the black community.
That's your opinion.
That's my opinion. Then tell me how the black community benefits from you having a white woman.
Because he's offering employment opportunities to black men, you idiot. I mean, who else is going to offer them employment? You sure as hell aren't. And that's my problem with these simps. They don't build anything. They don't care about what we're building as black men. They're just like, are you worshiping a Keisha? Yes or no? That's all that matters to me. They won't have $2 in their pocket. And they won't have $2 to give the next black man or the next black boy. but they're worried about who you're dating. Let me tell you something. The true hierarchy of conduct that needs to be practiced among black men for the betterment of the black community is as follows. If you are making your own money and you can support yourself so that you don't have to accept handouts from the government or others, that is not just good, that is great, because you are empowered to move freely. Limiting our access to capital via limiting our job opportunities is one of the main tools that's been used against us as black men. So if you are overcoming that, if you are prospering in these seas, and the waters are vicious, that's not just good, that is great. Now, if you're able to extend that even further into not only supporting yourself, but being able to be the head of a family via a wife and children that you also support, and that you're also showing every day what strong black male leadership looks like. That's not just great, that's excellent. Because not only are you supporting yourself and others that are under your leadership, but you're showing the world that black men are capable of doing just that. Now, if you're able to extend even further and do what this man is doing right here, which is not only support yourself, but you're able to extend that even further into offering employment opportunities for other black men, that's exceptional. That's outstanding, because that's the main piece of the puzzle that we're missing in the black community. Not enough emphasis on ownership and job creation. It's only going to come by our hand. It's not going to come from a Democrat. It's not going to come from simping. It's going to come by our hand only. So if this black man is doing that, he's doing the most beneficial thing he can for the black community. He's providing somewhere for these black boys to go when they get older. One of the biggest roadblocks we have is a black man can be educated and still find himself with a lack of opportunity. So this brother is ahead of the curve. He's someone that I can point to and show my kids and say, this is a brother who's fighting for people like you. Unlike Dr. Umar, we're not waiting 15 years for this brother to produce something that benefits the black collective. Again, the problem with these simps, they don't understand Keisha does not matter that much. What are you creating for your infrastructure builders of the future? That being black boys who will grow into black men. And since there is no school, Dr. Umar has not provided a solution for that. Therefore, the black boys and men of today and the future do not owe him anything in return, especially their respect. So for this brother, you are doing all the right things. I don't care if you've got 10 Beckys over there. And I mean that. Keep working hard, keep employing black men, because that's what we need more of. We need less talking heads who don't produce anything. Oh, and don't take his dating advice either. You're not supposed to just keep dating Keishas until you die if it doesn't work out. As a man, you only have a limited window of time to make the maximum amount of money that you can. You need a woman who's going to be working in your best interest. If that's not a Keisha, forget about her. They don't matter that much. It's more important that you be productive and that you put your focus on as much economic independence as you can create for yourself while you're able to work. So on TikTok, I noticed this one trend where the Pookies and Keishas were pushing this Dr. Umar talking point, and I just wanted to address it real quick.
So let me get this right. Black girls called you ugly? So do you want me to believe that the white girls called you handsome?
By the way, this is like the perfect face for all simps and pookies. Like you can just, the bewilderment, you know? You can just tell there's not a whole lot going on up there. It actually blows this guy's mind that, yeah, a lot of white women find black men attractive. You should get out more.
Remember when Dr. Umar said, the black girls called you ugly, and I'm supposed to believe that the white girls called you handsome? Yeah, man. Yes. As an ugly nigga, it was hell. It was hell. I didn't get shown no love, right? And I don't hold that against nobody. I'm not like one of these people that self-hate my people because like I was bullied or I felt left out. Shit happens. You get over it. But I do think regardless of sex or gender identity, if you were a black teenager in like the 2010s and you were like considered ugly and your community and the people around you considered you ugly, the first time you probably felt any form of affection might have been by somebody that didn't look like you. And that's honestly where the dangerous pipeline is. Because luckily for me, that happened to me, and like I wasn't like one of these guys like, white is right, this is the only way. Like, no, like I'm just like, okay, cool, that's great. I still love my people, I still love black women, I still love everybody that, I don't care how y'all made me feel as a kid. Like niggas get bullied every day, who cares? And sometimes it's not even being bullied. Sometimes it's like, oh, you don't fuck with me. I can't hold that against you. It is what it is. I don't care. I'm ugly and I'm proud. But people get too lost in the sauce because now they're like, oh, the only people that have ever showed me any form of love are white women. Oh my God, time to go start digging in the snow. And you could live your life. You could live your truth, my brother, but like leave black people out of it. Leave the black woman out of it. I'm sure Asian people are in the same way, Hispanic people in the same way. Just because people didn't give you no play, don't mean you get to grow up and be like, I hate all of you.
Okay, brother, I get it. And I'm not trying to promote hate either. But there's a couple things I want to say. First of all, you're not ugly. You just have African features. The issue with Keishas are that they're Brad worshippers. So when they call you ugly, what they're really saying is you don't look like a Brad. They tend to judge our attractiveness based on how close we look to a Brad or not. If you've got a wider nose, if you've got bigger lips, and you look a little more African, they typically deem that ugly. If your hair is kinkier, they tend to deem that ugly. That's a them problem. The reason women outside of your race found you attractive is because they likely judged you more objectively. Are you masculine looking? Are you tall? Are you muscular? Are you more fit than the men that they see? Typically, that is why women outside of your race may have found you attractive, but black women did not. And this subject is very important to me because I don't want black men out here walking around with a poor self-image of themselves. Many of you are not ugly, you just look African. And Keisha's a Brad worshiper. That's also why I don't entertain these colorism discussions, because when T.O. came out and said, hey, black women didn't find me attractive growing up because I was dark-skinned, not trying to sound fruity, I'm just saying, there's nothing wrong with how he looks. But his complaints about Keisha's not finding him attractive because he was dark-skinned were ignored. So I'm going to ignore their arguments about colorism. If you don't care about what we have to say, then I'm not listening to you. But to Dr. Umar's surprise, and he's a little older, I don't know if things were different in his day, but I've got news for him. I know more Beckys that wouldn't date these guys than I know Keishas who wouldn't. I want you brothers to think about that and then ask yourself, is the issue really your level of attractiveness? Or is the real issue what these Keishas value versus what they don't?
Not a lot, maybe 150.
It's not that big.
Support, guys. Be united to support.
I'm inviting the devil in if I entertain it.
Right.
I know them phone calls not to answer, but getting back to this Umar thing, you preying on the sisters in the hood, homie. You act like you down with the sisters in the hood. Here's a man putting his rep on the line, talking about it. You are preying on the sisters in the hood. You are not self-sufficient enough to take on one of these women and graduate her to maturity.
Yeah.
And where she needs to be in this world.
That's a good question. Like, why is Dr. Umar not married? As much as he talks about it, like even in a spiritual sense, like he should have like a, I don't know. I think of it in terms of pastors, like a first lady of some kind, right? Or he's talked about polygamy before, maybe two first ladies, a first and a second lady.
It's because he knows us brothers in the SYSBM space are correct. He just can't admit it publicly. And for anybody who wants to dispute an SYSBM perspective, the first thing I'm going to look for is whether you are married to a black woman or not. You better be married to a Keisha with 2+ kids if you want to criticize this movement. And if you're not, I'm ignoring anything you have to say. Put some skin in the game. Put your money where your mouth is, or I don't respect your perspective. Shout out to Fawcett Media, by the way. I thought this was a great video.
Like, after all this time, Dr. Umar's been talking, like, he still don't see it. He sounds like he's out here experiencing the dating market in the same way that we are. That there's a lot of bad options out here. Maybe.
I think it's 100% the case. Again, I don't respect you if you can't put your money where your mouth is. If they're black queens, then marry one. But to close this video out, I want to go back to what Corey Holcomb said, because yes, Dr. Umar's rhetoric and all Simp's rhetoric are simply holding this community back. We need to move away from all of these talking points of the past. I don't want any more feminist talking points. I don't want any more colorism or educated lame discussions. I don't want any more we all need to vote blue no matter who discussions. I don't want any more black men aren't doing enough. The problem is black men are the only people in the black community doing anything. Productive black men. We're the only ones producing anything. That's the problem. And we don't get anything back from the community in return. We need to deviate from this cesspool of democratically funded feminist thinking and build a new black community under an SYSBM banner. And for Dr. Umar, who I'm sure challenges this perspective, I have to say, what is your tangible alternative for the black boys of the future? What did you create with your 15 years of a public platform and donation money siphoning? What did you produce for them that I can point to them and say, hey, maybe my solution's wrong. Maybe you should go see what Dr. Umar's solution is. What have you built in all that time? Nothing. So you have no right to criticize the solutions that black boys and black men had to create on their own. Thank you, brothers, so much for watching and supporting the channel. I just want to close this video out with an excellent video that another brother made, debunking Dr. Umar's claim that Keisha's high STD rate is because of the misconduct of black men. Women are the gatekeepers of sex and who has access to sex. So when their STD rates are outpacing the STD rates of men, it's their fault.
This serial monogamy going on, where black men are dating too many women, spreading diseases and babies, gonorrhea and chlamydia, herpes and AIDS, warts, HPV, crabs, lice, scabies, and coon balls.
I don't even know what coon balls or coon bongs is, but listen, boy, you ain't about to be blamed. Dr. Umar, with all due respect, I fuck with you, but listen, when you got the, you know what I'm saying, trying to win your women community up by downplaying the black man and trying to blame everything on us, I wasn't going for that, bro. So I just putting the proof out there because you are speaking false allegations. Right here, number one, starting off with the STDs. This is from the CDC website. It says the prevalence of STDs was higher amongst black and African American females at 3.01% than amongst males at 2.61%. Compared to the heterosexual females, bisexual females were more likely to have STDs. Males who are identified as gay or bisexual were more likely than heterosexual individuals to have STDs. They're going to prove right there in your face. I have another one for you. As you see right here on the HIV.gov, it says black African American females represented 47% of all new HIV infections amongst females in 2022. That means it don't matter if the woman was white, green, yellow, blue, brown, Black women had 47% of all, y'all. It even says the rate of black African American females at 15.1 was nearly 8 times the rate as white females at 1.9, more than 3 times the rate for Hispanics, Latino females at 4.6. It says men who have sex with men, also known as MSM, of color, gay, bisexual, and other, are by far the populations most affected by HIV in the United States. That LGBTQ movement, particularly the MSM of color, according to the CDC, MSM accounted for 67%, y'all. 21,400 out of 31,800 estimated new HIV infections in 2022. Among all MSM, 34% of that's 67 of the new HIV infection were amongst black African men, y'all. This facts. Now look, I'm gonna keep going because I got some more for y'all. You know what I'm saying? You want to get on our bumper? Look at this. Black women account for the largest share of new HIV diagnosis amongst women. This is a new one at 3,523 or 50% in 2022, as well as the largest share of all women living with HIV. That's right there in y'all face. The rate of the new diagnosis, black women, 19.2, is 10 times the rate amongst women. White women, 1.9, and 3 times the rate is amongst Latino at 5.5. I can keep going, y'all. It says, yes, black women are disproportionately affected by HIV in the United States. In 2022, like I said before, the 47% of the new HIV infections among women were in the black or African American women. This is nearly 8 times higher the rate of white women. It says the HIV prevalence, 54% of women with HIV in the United States are black or African American, bruh. Y'all leading it way higher than us. Then he said we having kids. This is for the kids thing. This is right off the black demographic black woman website, I believe. You know what I'm saying? It says comparing black men to black women, black men or women fertility. Right here it says black men are women ages 15 to 49 who had biological children. Right there, 46%, 61%. So women are having more kids than men. Only 46% of men had kids, 61% of women had kids. You see right below that it says black fathers and mothers who lived with their partners at their first child's birth, married or cohabiting, meaning they was together. 66% of those 46 men was having kids with the mother. They was in the same household. Only 41% of that 61% of them women had kids had the men in the household, meaning they had a bigger rate of having kids by themselves. It's right there in the pudding, man. I can keep going. Look, it's even right here, y'all. It says there are over 307 more black women than men. 307,000, y'all. But despite this, there are more than 550,000 married black men than women, y'all. And look, this is what I don't like, though. Black men are twice as likely to marry outside their race than black women. Also, according to the report, there were 1 million more black women with children than black men. It's right there in the right there in your face, y'all. Y'all can go look it up. But Dr. Umar want to say shit like this.
My black sisters, my princesses in here, make these brothers do work. Make them build. Make them build. Make them build. If you're going to keep on, listen to me, black queens, because you're the future mothers of tomorrow. If you're going to keep on rewarding black men for not building the community you need, they will never build it. Lock the damn cookies up and make them build.